Were you aware that corals are not plants, but animals that have same phylum as jellyfish? Yes, I learned about it from last semester's subject that I took, which is fauna marine. For this subject, I even went to field trip at Pulau Bidang Terengganu to experience the marvel of the sea. I am speaking to you today because coral bleaching is increasing in that islands, and I witnessed it by myself. Not only in that islands, but islands all over the world are experiencing the same incidents. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Arnie Suhairin binti Affide, the second year postgraduate student of Marine Science course from UKM. Latest studies have shown that over the last 30 to 40 years, many reefs around the world lost 50 to 90% of live corals. While these numbers are very troubling, individuals have now realized how bad it will be if the coral continues, if the incident continues. Because coral will gradually extinct since people take less acts. The coral reef of the world do more for the earth than they have underwater beauty. The protection and restoration of the coral reef ecosystem is vital to the survival of the nations which they depend. Today we will talk about why threaten corals and what we can do about it. Before we proceed to it, we should know what coral is. It's an animal, not plant. Corals, formed by polyps that secrete hard outer skeleton of calcium carbonate that attach to rock or other dead skeletons of other polyps. Corals are sessile, live in large groups and form massive interlink which shape coral reef. Coral reefs are often found in shallow tropical seas where zooxanthellae have enough sunlight to make food. The algae also give the coral its colors, usually yellow to brown for healthy coral. Now we know what coral is, I will talk about traits of coral. First, various factors related to chemical and physical that has brought damage to coral reef. Increase in ocean temperature and changing ocean chemistry is the main global threat to coral reef ecosystems. Due to the rising atmosphere temperature, it leads to ocean warming and increasing level of carbon dioxide in seawater. Changes in conditions such as temperature, light, and nutrients will cause coral stress, which lead them to expelling zooxanthellae and causing them to turn completely white. This is called coral bleaching. According to UNESCO, World Heritage Site will cease to exist by the coral at the end of this century. No, according to UNESCO, World Heritage Site will cease to exist at the end of this century if we continue to emit greenhouse gases under business as usual scenario. Example for World Heritage Sites is Great Barrier Reef in Australia. As for physical factors, threats like overfishing, physical damage, and disease are dangerous to coral reef. According to a study based on 4 years of diving on 159 reefs in Pacific shows that 4 countries, Indonesia, Thailand, Myanmar, and Australia, are heavily contaminated with plastics. It clings to the coral and will cause them sick or even kills them. Overfishing can alter food web structure and cause major impacts. For instance, reducing the numbers of grazing fish that keep corals clean of algal overgrowth. Without fish, overgrowth of algae could kill the coral due to lack of nutrients. Simple act of removing and breaking up coral can lead to overharvesting of specific species, destruction of reef habitats, and even reduce biodiversity. Now we know what threatens them. We should wonder, is coral that important to human and biota? Yes, coral reef contains staggering biodiversity, foods, and protections, even benefits to local economies. Coral reefs have the highest biodiversity of any ecosystem in the earth. They occupy less than 1% of ocean floor, but they have more than 35% of marine life. In addition, coral reefs can support food production and medicine. Corals lay out three-dimensional structure, place for substrates to attach and feed marine life that humans eat, such as fish and sea urchins. Compounds effective against disease-causing like bacteria and fungi already exist in the nature and could be developed into effective drug for humans if they can be isolated. Moreover, protect shoreline and coastal communities. Coral reef provide the buffer that protects shorelines against 97% of the energy from wave and storm by dissipation of the wave energy, which helps to prevent loss of life, property damage, and erosion. Without the natural buffer, natural disasters such as floods and tsunamis occur will bring more damages on the adjacent land place where we live. As a matter of fact, existence of coral definitely encourage and promote tourism, which benefits economy. Local economies benefit from visitors coming to the water activities like scuba diving, island hopping, and recreational fish trips. Other businesses such as restaurants and hotels would also gain profit from the incoming visitors. For instance, countries with an abundance of islands with reef habitats such as Malaysia and Thailand are the popular spots for this tourism. We could see how vital the coral reef is because we can benefit greatly from it. We should commit ourselves to protect it. We can protect them by restoration. We can protect them by conservation. Most importantly, rather than cure the damage, we should prevent it from happening first. Prevention is better than cure. Place artificial reef structure on the ocean floor has been a staple for improving the marine life population in that area. In June 2002, the retired USS Spiegel Grove was sunk in waters off Key Largo. The ship was the biggest vessel ever deliberately scuttled to create an artificial reef with 510 feet long. Submerged shipwrecks are the most common form of artificial reef. Next, we should choose environmentally friendly products. Microbeads and harmful chemicals in sunscreens such as oxybenzone that end up in the ocean can be fatal to marine life, including coral reef. Choose products that package in recyclable material made without microbeads and choose sunscreen products that are coral safe such as oxybenzone free. I know it is hard to practice it and cost money, but for the sake of coral reef, you can do this. Most importantly, look but do not touch the coral. While doing water activities in the ocean, be careful not to damage or interfering the community by touching the coral. Ideally, do not get close enough to interfere with the interactions between a coral reef and fish or other organisms. Let us recap what we have covered today. Although there are NGO and government associations that actively participate in conservation of coral reef, but with the help of others in spreading awareness about this issue, could make it more impactful to reduce damage towards coral reef. This year alone, several thousand reefs have died due to threats that I have explained. There is no way to solve all the threats reefs encounter in the ocean, but we can do something to help save the lives of coral reef and to make coral reef healthier. Coral reefs are some of the most exquisite masterpieces of nature. It would not be that long before the coral was extinguished and the ecosystem would explode. We should do this. Start being responsible and mindful of our environment while we are in the ocean. It is better late than never for us to start immediate action so that next generation can experience the marvel of the sea. Thank you.